I want to thank Audible for sponsoring this video. Attention is all around us. There is always something we could or should be focusing on. It's pretty self-explanatory while we are studying or working, because we should definitely be focusing on the work that's in front of us, but it also applies to other simpler things we do, like driving, taking a shower, cooking, or talking to a friend. If you're like me, then you'll have a difficult time focusing sometimes. It feels like there's always something that interrupts you whenever you try to do your work. And it's incredibly hard to just finish one task from start to finish without constantly reaching for your phone, changing tabs in your internet browser, or looking up and having random thoughts. During the day, we do hundreds of things, although some of them aren't even noticeable. Some of them are in the back of our minds, as we act on them using a kind of autopilot mode. All of the tasks we complete throughout the day can be organized in a matrix. They can be attractive or unattractive, and productive or unproductive. All in all, placing these tasks inside the matrix categorizes your tasks into 4 different groups: necessary work, unnecessary work, distracting work, and purposeful work. This last one is the sweet spot. They are the things we are destined to do because when we put everything into them, we make the largest impact in ourselves and others. Although it's important to try and maximize the time you're spending doing purposeful work, it's of course not very realistic to think you can get away without tackling the remaining tasks. Even if you're trying to save the world, somehow you'll have to do your laundry. Every day, tasks from all 4 quadrants compete for our attention, but there's a limit as to how many things we can focus on. After focusing on something, we can only hold a small amount of information in our short-term memory, which makes it impossible to remember everything at once. That's why it's so important to learn how to manage our attentional space. Everything I've just mentioned, as well as the concept of attentional space, are the core ideas behind this book called Hyperfocus. The attentional space is the amount of mental capacity we have available to focus and process things in the moment. Your management of the attentional space, in this case your poor management of it, may be one of the reasons behind your low productivity. Becoming aware of what you're thinking about is one of the best practices for managing your attention, and therefore your productivity, because your attentional space is changing all the time according to your mood, your workload, and other factors. The incredible thing is, your attentional space has the ability to become overcrowded really fast. Information about small things, such as chores you still have to tackle, future deadlines, your mom's birthday, and the menu for tonight's dinner, are all filling up your attentional space, taking away precious space to fully engage in purposeful work. The author of Hyperfocus actually states a kind of golden rule on how to manage your attentional space. You should manage a few small habitual tasks, like enjoying music while you're running or listening to a podcast while cleaning. You can also focus on a task that requires most of your focus, as well as an habitual task. And finally, you can also try to engage in one complex task only. Here we're talking about finishing that report, writing an important email, or focusing on your classes. Even though you want to cram small habitual tasks into these complex ones, like scrolling through your phone while you're attending a lecture, you'll not be able to complete that one task simply because that attentional space is not able to accommodate both. The key here, while you should disengage from any information that is taking up space and put it somewhere else, like a calendar, a planner, or a productivity app. As you store the bits and pieces of information elsewhere, you're freeing up precious space to freely process more relevant information, become more creative, and think harder and smarter about the most challenging tasks in your list. Much like when you move files from your computer to a cloud service or a hard drive to make your computer process information faster. However, the number of habitual tasks we can fit into our attentional space is much higher than the number of demanding tasks. That's why you should never cram too complex tasks into your attentional space, as you'll never be able to truly accommodate them entirely. So instead of cramming things into your attentional space, you should look into ways to curate your tasks. One study found that when we continually switch between tasks, our work takes 50% longer compared with doing one task from start to finish. That's why task switching and multitasking ruin your productivity. While in fact, being busy doesn't equal being productive. Productivity means accomplishing what we want to do and not just random things. To accomplish what you want to do and put your attention and intention into it, you should engage your hyperfocus mode. So what is exactly hyperfocus? Well, the term itself comes from ADHD literature and describes the phenomenon that happens when there's a single task that consumes your full attention. In the context of productivity, when you hyperfocus on a task, you expand one task, project, or other object of attention so it fills your attentional space completely. You enter this mode by managing your attention deliberately and purposefully, and by choosing one important object of attention, eliminating distractions that will inevitably arise as you work, and then focusing on just that one task. To reach hyperfocus mode, you should choose a productive or meaningful object of attention, eliminate as many external and internal distractions as you can, focus on that chosen object of attention, and continually draw your focus back to that one object of attention. One thing is for sure, independently of how long you work in an hyperfocused state, starting the action or the task provides enough momentum to carry out your intentions. And then you just have to make sure there's implementation intention in your planning. After all, attention without intention is wasted energy. Implementation intention basically means you should detail how, when, and why you will finish your task, drafting a plan that makes sure you have enough direction to reach its completion. We are constantly used to plan how to successfully tackle our tasks, prioritize them, and free up space and time to go through them methodically. But we usually never think about how to plan on how to get rid of distractions. But planning that can be as effective, if not even more, than planning our productive time. Because even if you're doing your best to be productive, if you can't successfully get rid of distractions, like your phone for instance, you'll never be able to achieve those productivity levels you're aiming for. So once again, remember to pick a task, eliminate distractions, set your environment so you're working in a focused mode, and discipline yourself to get back to your chosen task whenever your mind starts wandering. The book Hyperfocus is full of tips and incredibly helpful advice on how to work smarter and do more intentional work. No video I can make is able to summarize 200 pages of incredible tips and advice, so if you want to experience it yourself, I highly recommend you to grab the title with your Audible Plus subscription, which has a lot of high-value content you can pick according to your own pursuits, like tons of audiobooks, podcasts, guided wellness programs, theatrical performances, A-list comedy, and exclusive Audible originals. You can basically have your own curated list of content to enjoy, something that brings you value and insight. I mean, basically all of the productivity books I've talked about in this channel are in Audible, so the value is immense and there's something new to learn every single day. Also, using Audible is really simple because you can download their titles and listen offline in any of your devices. And it's the perfect companion while you're commuting, doing chores, or going for a walk. If you want to try out Audible Plus for free for 30 days, don't forget to go to audible.com/Mariana or text Mariana to 500 500. A clickable link will be provided in the description box below. I really hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next week. Bye guys!